Yeah. Hey, Carter. Thank you so much for taking the time to help us learn a little bit more about the new net energy metering rules, NEM3,
Hmm.
and what that means for the future of solar, specifically residential solar here in the state of California.
Well, it's great to be here. It's great to be chatting with you and the Atmos crew about all this, and it's exciting times.
Yeah. So real briefly, who are you and who do you work for?
Yeah, so my name's Carter Lavin. I'm the membership director for the California Solar and Storage Association. We are the voice of the solar industry here in California. We're based in Sacramento. We represent over 700 something member companies, contractors, big and small, manufacturers, financiers, basically the folks who are putting solar up on your roof, the people who are putting solar on your school, and people who are supporting all that. That's our members, and we're here to help put solar on as many places throughout California as we possibly can.
Awesome. And that's our mission too, California and beyond. And our customers want to fund it with their deposits. So this is very important to them. Um, so, starting at the top, what is net energy metering? NEM, NEM,
Yeah.
as so many different ways to call it, that dang thing. Um,
Yeah.
what is it? Why is it important to solar?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what do
Yeah.
we need to know about it?
Yeah. So net energy metering, NEM, whatever you want to call it, is the kind of foundational policy of solar in California and a lot of other states in the United States. It's basically this concept: when you put your solar on your home, you send power back to the electric grid if you are making more than you need at an instant. Let's say it's a nice Sunday, it's sunny, you're out having a barbecue, you're not running a bunch of stuff, you're making power, you send it to the utility, they buy it from you. And when you need power, it's nighttime, you're running your heater or whatever, and you need extra power, you buy from them. So what should that exchange be? That's net metering. In the past, when solar was kind of a quaint small thing, it used to be a take a penny, leave a penny. You give them a kilowatt hour, they credit you a kilowatt hour. Now there's 1.3 million solar customers in California, and the utilities are not very happy with the agreement, and so they have proposed some pretty radical changes that would shut down this entire market. But at the end of the day, net metering is a fairly straightforward concept of, if you are making a little bit more than you need at any moment, here you go, and taking when you buying when you need, getting credited at a fair amount, and that is the foundation of solar financing.
Yeah, it's critical in order for people to get that payback and for them to want to put it on their roofs. And more gets even more complicated with commercial and utility. So let's just focus on residential
Yeah,
for this conversation.
sure.
Um, and so, like, why are we even having this fight? I mean, it's like California is supposedly the leader. 1.3 million out of a total of 3 million, residential solar installs in the U.S. as of
Yeah.
a few months ago, according to SIA and Wood Mackenzie. Um, like, didn't the CEC like mandate that all new homes have solar on them, like starting
Yeah.
in the
And we
next year or two, like
and
whenever?
we have an energy crisis, and PG&E is cutting out the power.
Climate crisis.
There's climate change. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a whole big thing, and we should probably do something about that. And so you say, well, what gives? And one thing that's happening is the utilities of California are, they're many things, but they're not dumb. So they don't say, PG&E is not going out and saying, hi, when we're not shutting down power lines and we're not causing forest fires, we love killing the solar industry. Can you get rid of my competition? No, what they're saying is, hey, we're about to put gobs and gobs of solar in the middle of the desert, bulldoze entire ecosystems, put gobs of solar. We're going to do the clean energy thing. We just don't want anyone to make their own power. We'd like to have all the power, please. Can we just get rid of these solar folks? So a kind of a fascinating part of this fight, especially for the folks listening who might not be in California, um, this isn't, the utilities have tried to make it that it's not a question about like dirty energy versus clean energy. It's not coal versus solar. It is the utility, it's who owns the solar, who gets the benefit. And so the reason why this is a big fight is because solar is this deeply democratic tool. It's this deeply democratizes literally who has the power. Do you have the power in the neighborhoods, or is it the power by these utilities? The utilities want the power themselves. And I think one thing that we've seen in the finance world is this like liberation of finance. There's so many different ways, there's so many different people. I think, you know, when you talk about like what's happening with like crypto and Bitcoin, there's this whole concept of like, well, everyone could do this, everyone should have access. There's so much going on. But what's happening in solar is as if the the kind of big entrenched players who've been doing it for 100 years said, no, we're the only ones. We don't want to reshape the power system. And so that's why it's all up for a fight, because we're changing the world. And some people really like how the world was. They don't want it to change.
Yeah, they make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah.
But if it's a little surprising that with their economic structure of a regulated rate of return on their capex, it's like, how much money are you spending to install something?
Yeah.
That they wouldn't want more residential, because it is 3x the cost or more of a utility scale system, so that they can get 3 times the amount of money or more, because they're like, oh, this is even more complicated.
Yeah. Well, and this is like a fascinating thing about like solar economics as a whole, is that so utilities make money from in California, the utilities make money for building stuff, but they are not building the power plants. Generally, they are buying the power from power plants. They build power lines. And if they say, oh, the Bay Area needs, like, oh, there's a new development going out in the Tracy and the Bay Area, 1,000 new homes going up. We, the utility, get to build big power lines, transmission lines going to them. That's great. We get that 10% guaranteed rate of return. But if all those 1,000 new homes are net zero homes because they have solar and are really energy efficient, the utility can't justify some $10 million, $20 million, $100 million power line upgrade to provide them. Like, and they're like, no, the utility's whole structure is around building stuff. And if people say, oh no, I got solar, I don't need it, I don't need your stuff, our neighborhood doesn't need that because 20 people in my neighborhood went solar, and so the demand on the grid is not that much. The utility is like, no, you have to have this stuff. Like, we want, that's their whole point.
Yeah.
And so to your point though, about like the cost of utility scale, the cost of residential, it's always a question of like, well, to who? And so when my cousin went solar, she put up 20,000 of her own dollars. So the cost of like, she's not going to buy a utility scale solar plant in the middle of the desert. She will buy a 5K system and put it on her roof, and that's her money. And so she should be allowed to use her money to invest in our public grid that way. Like, that's a good thing. If she wanted to pave her street, that would also be good. I would like her to do that as well. That'd be very nice.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the democratization of energy, and also they don't want to just install the electrical lines. They also want to install, the gas pipelines and get that distribution system. And we're moving towards electrifying our homes and getting gas out. So that's a further reduction in their potential revenue. So,
if we electrify everything and we make it so everyone's their own generator and everyone's their own salesperson and everyone has all this stuff, and like, oh, your apartment building puts a big solar array in the parking lot or on the roof or whatever, and has a big battery in the basement, the utilities don't become the only game in town. They have to share, and that's not their thing. They would really rather just be like, we sell, you buy, that's it.
Yeah. We had
And
load shifting with software, load balancing, and with batteries. And I have a 65 kilowatt hour battery pack on 4 wheels.
Yeah, you should be able to do stuff with that.
Right.
And I mean, and I think one thing that's like fascinating about the world of finance, which I'm of the two of us definitely not the expert, but like one thing the finance world has figured out is like, it is good to have many people engaged in many things. Like, the finance equivalent would be like if there's only one entity that could provide loans, if there's only one entity that could do any investment. It's like, no, we want everyone in every pocket of money doing its thing, working together, communicating clearly. This is great and unlocks a lot of like wealth and opportunity and great stuff. But the utilities are like, no, no, no. We sell, you buy, you deal with it.
Yeah.
That's what they want the relationship to be.
Yeah. I mean, the transmission of electricity between two people or two devices, even,
Mhm.
um, if power is getting expensive, I may not need my lights may not need all of the electricity, and so
Yeah,
they start to dim themselves. But my refrigerator says I need that power, and so
yeah,
it raises its price and buys the electricity from the light bulbs.
yeah. There's
Um,
lots of great complexity you could do, and so net metering is sort of our like fairly clunky system of like, here's how we exchange these things, and there's parts, the program's old. There's parts that we could change it, and so one thing that kind of breaks my heart is there's a lot of smart people who say, how do we make net metering better? How do we make it so like renters can get in, or maybe this person has a warehouse and they want to sell it to a renter, or a renter wants to put up a part of a solar array on some other facility. Like, how do we get this complicated? And the utilities just came in and said, oh, you want to change net metering? How about we destroy it? That's changing. We could do that. And right now, last week, earlier this week, the state government of California was like, ooh, good idea. And they issued a preliminary decision from the Utility Commission called NEM3, Net Metering 3, the third version of this. And they basically said, hey, as part of this effort to reform net metering, to really democratize it, to make it work for everyone, why don't we destroy it? Why don't we add massive fees to any homeowner? Why don't we hurt existing people who have it? And why don't we slash the value of solar by about 80 cents or 80%, which is a non-starter. That is absolutely absurd. And it is not negotiating in good faith, to put it gently. And so on January 27th, the Utility Commission has the opportunity to put out a new final decision. This gets written in, carved in stone. And so between now and then, we need as many folks as possible to let the governor of California know that he needs to step in. Gavin Newsom needs to step in and fix this, and basically say to the commission, like, you went really off book on all this. And that's folks going to savecaliforniasolar.org, signing the petition there, letting the governor know that we can make net metering a lot better. Making it a lot worse is not the way of fixing it, though.
no, I mean, so as a state, we have you know, being completely net zero as a state by 2045. We've got
Yeah.
other goals to go to near zero emissions electricity production. We have a lot of different goals, and this mandate by the California Energy Commission, the CEC, into the building code of
Yeah.
all homes, new homes should have electricity. Now we've got another state agency coming in and saying, hey, that's great, but we're going to take away all the economic value of doing this.
Yeah.
So it's just penalizing everyone from building a new home.
Because
And you're
what
saying,
California, yeah,
sorry,
California really needed more expensive homes. That's really what we need.
yeah, let's just make it a little bit more expensive. But you're saying that not only are they making this change for new solar customers, they're taking it away from the 1.3 million existing customers as well.
Yeah. So when the 1.3 million existing customers, including you or whoever, a lot of you listening, when solar, you entered into a contract with the utility that said, this is the rules you're going to have for 20 years. You had 20-year basically guarantee that you are going to be on the exchange rate you had. The ruling from the Utility Commission, the preliminary ruling, says 15 years. Let's move that from 20 years to 15 years, which, maybe someone did a cash deal and they're like, okay, well, my system paid for itself in 8 years. It's not going to pay for itself nearly as much after year 15 than I was hoping for. But, I'm kind of happy. There's a lot of people who got a 20-year loan. And the economics worked out because they're like, oh, well, with a 20-year loan on my electric bill, I will save $20 a month. And this is great. Zero down solar. I'm saving on my electric bill, and I get to do the green thing, and that's great. It's like, well, those people are in a lot of trouble if this goes through. The good news is um, the governor could step in at any day between now and January 27th, and basically direct his commission, get them back on track and fix this. And so that's why we need folks going to savecaliforniasolar.org to speak out and sign up, because there's 1.3 million people are in trouble now.
All right. So the first thing that we can all do is go to savecaliforniasolar.org
.org.
and sign a petition there, donate. And donating goes towards this effort of
So getting the word out. California is a very, very large state. There's a lot of people to talk to about this.
And for those of us that live in the Bay Area, we got something going on January 13th. Is that correct?
Yeah. So January 13th in downtown SF, in front of the Utility Commission, we are going to have a rally of solar workers and solar allies. And so come on out on the morning of January 13th. And for those of you who are in SoCal, we have the same thing happening in Pershing Square in Los Angeles on the 13th of January. Details at calssa.org, CALSSA.org. But come on out, bring your friends, bring your family. Basically, this is our big chance. The utilities say no one likes solar. I think a lot of people do like solar. I think a lot of people want a solar powered future in California. And so we got to show up and show them.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. We will definitely work to get the word out. And I know that our customers, our supporters very much want this type of future. They're not spending their own money to put solar on the roof, to get electric vehicles, to electrify their homes, and to put their money to work to help more people go solar. So I think we will get some to come out. I will be there.
Great.
And anything else, Carter? Last minute requests or tips?
Yeah, the big thing is power and electricity is always political. It's always been political. It will never not be political. And I know there's a lot of people who say, but isn't it right and smart? And it's like, just because it's right and smart doesn't mean you're going to win. You have to fight. You have to fight. You always have to fight, because there are people who are making a lot of money with not doing the right or smart thing. And so the good news is, if we fight and we fight like heck, we can win. So I'm excited to fight with you all and win together.
Awesome, Carter. Let's do it. So we'll put all of that information into the video notes and into the blog post and share it out. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
And yeah, we will keep doing this together. So thanks, Carter. Have a great evening.
Cheers, Ravi. You're going.
Cheers. Okay, bye.